Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Circle of the World podcast, where we discuss Joe Abercrombie's First Law series. I am one of your hosts, Lord Chamberlain Jeffrey, and here are my co-hosts,
Archlector George,
and Harrison, the Adeptus Historical.
Today we are covering Before They Are Hanged, the second book in the original trilogy. We'll be covering 100 Words, The Blind Lead the Blind, and Prince Ladisla's Stratagem. So let's get started. All our fans, listeners, our dedicated memers, thank you so much for your support.
Thanks,
right,
guys.
Thanks.
Yay!
Woo!
Yeah.
By the time this episode releases, I believe Harrison will be releasing part 2 of
Whoa,
your...
hey, Jesus Christ. Take it easy. Take it easy. Listen, I appreciate the hype, Jeffrey, but I'm unfortunately still learning a lot of things. So I should have their audio wrapped up here by the end of this weekend, but then that's the easiest part. Then I gotta do all the animation.
Okay, well, Harrison, you could have just said that to me instead of screaming in my ear. But okay, all right.
And I'm just asserting my dominance as a young pup. All right,
as a young pup. All right, Adeptus Historical. Don't you have a fucking senior citizen discount to try to get?
What?
What? I am going to be releasing at least one more skit this week. I will. I'm gonna.
Yay!
Excellent.
I'm gonna caption it and release it, and then my favorite one should be released this week. Next week. I'm sorry, next week. So,
George, aren't you?
That's great. And I'm going to be working on the website this week, so
Yeah.
watch that space and see what happens.
Harrison,
And if nothing happens, then I was lazy again.
Although George was like, "Oh, it hasn't gotten that much traffic," and then he got on today, and he was like, "Holy shit, that's quite a bit more."
I should have checked it again.
So thank you everybody for all your support. We do appreciate it. So we'll just move right into our first chapter read through, since we're doing 3. These are pretty quick chapters, but we'll try to draw them out a little bit. First one is 100 Words. So we begin the book with this chapter, and it's Colonel Glockta. He's laying on his bed and he's unable to move. The ruling council.
I love these dream sequences.
Yeah, right. The ruling council are all there, and they're eating his limbs. Now, of course, this is a dream because we're supposed to, be looking at it from Inquisitor's Glockta's point of view, not Colonel. And obviously, nothing to do with being cannibalized. It has nothing to do. That's just normal. So,
I like this sort of terrifying but slightly funny scene.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like sleep paralysis. So, he can't move, can't do anything, and he's just getting eaten alive by
but it's kind of nice.
Yeah, and it's no. He's just accepting of it, and I think it's a really funny sort of look into Glockta's sort of inner his inner thoughts that these people probably are literally planning on killing him, but he doesn't really care.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think is there a reason that he's having these dreams? Because if you remember
I don't know, because there are some dreams in these books are influence, and some of them aren't.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of hard to tell.
Right. He had one in the Blade itself that was similar to something like this.
Mm.
Do you remember?
It's very strongly hinted that there was something going on there and something was influencing that.
Right.
But
I
though,
go ahead, Harrison.
I feel like this is a I don't want to say a red herring, this is not a pointless scene, but I feel like they had those other dreams out there, but if the only dreams that they showed us were the peculiar, there's obviously some sort of influence there, then it would be not as interesting whenever a normal dream popped up or vice versa. So I think this is here to be a normal dream to show that Glockta is just a very vivid dreamer.
Yeah, because he does have
to kind of throw us off.
Yeah, because he does have a regular dream in the beginning, in the Blade itself as well. Like the first time he meets Giselle, and he's like, he just murders him in front of RD, and RD's like, "Oh, you're so manly."
Wait,
so it's sort of just what's left of Glockta's old personality, resurfacing.
Really? I thought that dream was the one where near the end it morphs into
No, I'm sure that's the second one.
Yeah,
I think he has 2.
Okay.
Because I think it was just before they went in the house of the Maker.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now,
after they find the body.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes
now
sense.
I will say this though, is that in this dream, he's like, I don't know. There's something to be said about. You're right that he's sitting there and he doesn't really care that he's being eaten. In fact, he kind of enjoys it. He's like, no, right there, no, over to the left. Because Magister Ida's going, it's like fucking eating his dick or something, and he's like, just a little bubble. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too far into it, but maybe he wrote it like this way on purpose. But it's kind of like they're taking away. Those people are taking away every last vestige of like his the goodness that he's feeling, because he's in this place that he hates being in. And he's Colonel Glockter who's being slowly eaten away. So his past self is slowly being eaten away by these, these empathetic thoughts that he's getting for Magister Ida or Katia, and stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
Maybe.
But then we do know that Joe has a background in psychology, so it could be anything.
Yeah, and like Glockter's very self-aware person, right? So maybe his brain is processing. He's back in Gurkle, so he's thinking about his old life. And he's, being a bit more empathetic to some of these people. And now they're, he's seeing them as, oh no, they're still going to take me for everything they got, melding with his new personality of who fucking cares. But, and then mixed in with some wacky ass dream shit that always happens in dreams.
Yeah.
Very true. So obviously, yeah, Verms, Visbrook, Katia, Eider, in his dream, they're all eating his hands, his legs, everything. And then he wakes up with a start, and that means he has to deal with a great deal of pain, right? Bottom!
He's not here.
But then he's like, oh wait, he's not here. I'm in Dagoska. And so he kind of chills out, right? Once the pain subsides somewhat, and then he relaxes and he goes to the window and he reenacts a 90s music video by staring out the window while it's raining. My tears are golden, why I got a bed at all.
Yeah.
Guys, we've all done this.
Nobody ever stared out the window before the 90s.
Right? Yeah, no, it's not a thing. It did not happen.
They invented it.
In the 90s, we invented it. That's exactly it. But with the lightning flashes and everything, and then we hear a voice and we learn that someone is in the room with him.
Ooh.
Who could it be? But it's Yulwei. And so, go ahead, Harrison.
I was just going to say this here. George, you got to say that line that he says.
Which one?
The Yulwei is my name. You need not be alarmed.
Oh, okay.
I don't know which one you're talking about.
It's the second line that Yulwei has.
I can't read it. I haven't got the book. One sec. You're throwing a fucking curveball at me like this. You did.
I just love hearing your Yulwei voice. It's so good.
George, I can tell you the line. I see it right in front of me.
Go on.
It's Yulwei is my name. You need not be alarmed.
Oh, you mean in this chapter? I've got that. Fucking hell.
Yeah, 100 words.
Sorry, you can cut this bit out.
Okay.
Yulwei is my name. You need not be alarmed.
It's so good.
And I love his not alarmed. Are you fucking kidding? So Glock is not happy. Glock is not happy with having a stranger in his room, unannounced, uninvited. There's no etiquette going on here. But the reason Yulwei has to skip all that is because he's come to warn Glockta of the impending Gurkish onslaught. Harrison, you want to take over here with what he lists as like the amount of like the legions that the Gurkish have?
Before that, though, I love Glockta's thought that he looks around the room and he sees the tea jar and he goes, "What am I going to do? Make him tea?"
Like make him tea and run. Yeah. I will say, don't forget that for people who might be listening, Yulwei is the other Magi, who was into the first book, who was helping Pharaoh out. So it's been a little bit since we've seen him, but he is the fourth of Juven's apprentices, which puts them behind Baez and Kalul and Kaunil, which is a little interesting. I wonder how that actually functions in their hierarchy, or like if it actually matters. I mean, Baez seems to think it matters, but no one else does.
Yeah.
But he basically just kind of goes through and says, he names off a whole bunch of Gurkish, the people in the Kanta who are. It kind of reminds me of like the Persian Empire on how it's set up. Basically, they have a whole bunch of like vassals and stuff that are closely connected because the continent is so big for him to actually rule outright that he basically just has everybody pledge allegiance to him, and they have to send their troops and do whatever he says. Otherwise, he'll crush them, send his eaters out, blah, blah, blah. But so he basically lists off a whole bunch of the places that have, coming to help him fight. Basically, the entire continent. All of his vassals are moving to get ready for war, which is like a lot of fucking people. Because they talked about as well that Kanta is the most populated continent. So there's a lot of people coming to fight the Union. Then he mentions that, and I love how he mentions it too. Like Yue feels like how Baez is supposed to be, like in a stereotypical story.
Yeah.
Where he like knows things, and he's like, and he says it all creepily. It's during a rainstorm, and he's like, you can see the gates opening from. He's like the temple has opened its gates, and 100 words come forth. The worst thing to come upon the world since Juvens and Canadians, since before that, perhaps. I
can imagine thunder in the background.
Yeah. But I kind of love it though, just simply because it's such a nice little breaking up of the pace for most of it. Whereas other people would be like, yeah, there's some people who eat people coming or whatever. And here it's like you always like they come forth. The most evil, terrible thing on the planet. It makes you kind of be like, oh, there's more going on here. It does make you kind of scared and kind of excited to like see this great evil that Yule is talking about, because you're like, this is the first time you actually hear about there being genuine like some kind of evil movement forces coming from the south or whatever. Mm-hmm. We don't like Kalul or whatever, we knew that, but this is the first time somebody said this is a terrible thing that's about to happen, we got to be ready. And it kind of, I think it adds a certain level. At least the first time I read it, I got my ears perked up. Kind of got excited that there's going to be some bad guys or whatever. even if it doesn't turn out exactly that way, it's kind of exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like he introduces them, like Kalul finally sends forth his own soldiers, Mamoon, and he does the whole thrice blessed, thrice cursed kind of thing. And there's like the 100 words. You're like, oh, what does that mean? What are they gonna do?
Yeah,
a little letters, or what's going on? Why do you mean 100 words? What does this mean? And then we learn it's just
a sick ass name, actually.
Yeah, it
for
is.
Like a group of people. Yeah. But the only other thing, then he mentions that the Gurkish have a fleet now, and Glock is like, bah! He's like, I'll listen to your babble, but ships? That's outrageous.
you stupid.
Because the Gurkish aren't sailors, and I have the theory that the old Bethod in the North sold the Emperor a fuck ton of wood. Because I mean, Yule even mentions in the first book that where'd they get all that wood from Styria or the North? It had to have been, and it makes sense that Bethod would have moved with the Emperor a little bit,
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a very interesting that things work out that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what else does Yule do? He Glock asks him, he's like, okay, well, thank you for this kind of information, but I want to know more. Tell me about Davos. And then Yulway's like, there's an eater here. I could smell it. And Glock is like, care to expound? Care to tell me about this? And you're always just like, nah, you gotta figure out yourself, bro. And it's like, whoa, no.
And I like how even when Yue tells him, it's like, there's an eater here, somebody who eats flesh and gains powers, and Glock is just like, oh, come on. Load of shit.
Yeah, and how like he always like, that's it. That's all I gotta say. And Glock is all like, tell me, you riddling bastard! He starts like insulting him. Yeah. No, it is interesting though. We've gotten two things now. Glock is sitting there being like, man, I think we're fucked. And then something comes up, and then he gets given some help. And it seems like a plot convenience, but also it does make sense by the end.
100%.
It makes all the sense. So then Yulwei's just like, I'm not going to tell you everything word for word. You're just going to have to figure it out. And then he deuces out, right? He's out. He just disappears. Then a bit of a time jump. And it's Glokta. He's on the parapets of the walls of the Goska with, Koska and Visbrook. And they're looking like, oh, yeah. Yep, the Gurkish, they're coming. They're coming. And it's 5 standards, right? 5 legions, just like Yulwei said. And Glokta's like, okay, so maybe this guy wasn't talking shit. So, and then he looks down at the docks and he tells Visbrook, hey, whatever we have left over in terms of material, build that up. Build like a little wall there. Just do that. Visbrook's confused. He's like, what? Why? The Gurkish don't sail.
Yeah.
But Glokta, he just, what does he say? He says the world changes, right? Something like that. He repeats what Yulwei says.
I think he says not all of it, but most of it.
No, yeah, he says the world changes, General. The world changes. I see it right here. So yeah, so then Visbrook is like, fine, and he just doesn't even like hesitate. He just turns around. And then I like how Glokta asks Koska, like, what do you think is the general amount of soldiers they got going on over there? And Koska acts like he's like counting. He's like, and then he goes, a fucking lot.
Fucking lot.
So funny. Costco is one of my favorite like comic relief characters in this book especially.
Yeah, because in this book it's like you could tell, he's having way too much fun.
Yeah. He's just like, the lovable rogue sort of archetype. You got your Captain Jack Sparrow and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's just absolutely brilliant. This ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Costco's like a level 20 swashbuckler, all right?
Exactly.
Especially that big ass hat. Yeah.
He's got a plus 5 to perception if he's constantly drunk.
Yeah, he's no, I'm sorry, my bad. He's actually something a little bit different. He's a multi-class monk, drunken master, and rogue swashbuckler.
Yeah.
You guys lost me.
Fucking love these stats. Yeah. Anyway,
I love how you guys mentioned a minute ago how Glokta does this a lot. Is how he'll hear somebody say something, and he will repeat it because he realizes that like that phrase or those words actually, it's useful to use those words, or he finds a place for them in his vocabulary because he learned something from it. And I like that as well because a lot of people do that, but it's a really good subtlety for a smart character because they're reusing other people's lines on purpose. I like it a lot.
Yeah. No, I like it. Yeah, it's good. Oh, we should probably mention that they turned the Goska essentially into an island, right? They flooded the ditch.
Yeah. So it's funny. He's like, Visbrook's all like, should we flood the ditch? And
do I have your permission?
Like, your moment of glory. Very well. And he's like, the ditch is flooded. Whatever.
And I like Glokta's like, so we see. Congratulations.
He's like, well done, fucking Captain Obvious.
George, do you want anything else? You want to say anything else about this chapter, or?
No, I'm all good.
Yeah. All right. I mean, so we basically come to the end. Like, they see that the Gurkish also have siege engines. Like, they're coming for real. They're not playing any games. They're gonna come for real. And Koska's like, well, I'm gonna go talk to Carlot Dan Eider because when the fighting starts, I get double. So
the only other thing that they mention here is that the siege engines that are there look bigger than normal. Like he's like, what the hell?
Yeah, don't they have weird. Like 3 giant ones or something?
Yeah,
like that?
They have 3 huge ones, and he's like, that's weird. And then he also is like looking off towards the ocean, like, oh, is there gonna be a Gurkish fleet whipping around the corner? Mm-hmm. Nope. So he still says, he still tells Visbrook, I believe, right? Yeah, to like be prepared for an attack on the docks.
Yeah.
Like, what? No? Why would they do that?
Right. But he does. Oh, he sees the timber sticking up, but he doesn't know what kind of siege engines there are. He doesn't know, like, the amount, whatever. But we'll find out. It's gonna be 3 big fuckers.
Yes, 3 big boys.
Boys.
If I had to guess, probably a trebuchet, the
Yeah, that's
superior siege engine.
You know,
All right, you fucking Englishman.
whatever.
I only know about a trebuchet because I watched Grand Tour. All right, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I love history.
So
Got to make sure people are like, God, he's uneducated.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm not educated. I just like trebuchet memes on Reddit.
The superior siege engine.
So how would you guys rate that chapter? Because
Okay.
that was literally the end of the chapter.
Jeffrey, you got to do the first one because you
What?
skipped out so much on the previous episode.
Yeah,
Oh.
Jeffrey. Yeah.
That's a little bit mean, but
Yeah.
okay. I'll give it a 4 out of 9. It's so quick. It's so quick, you know? That's all it is. Like the only issue that I have with these next 3 chapters is that they're just so fast.
You just like taking your time, huh?
Yeah, I do. I like to dig into it.
Okay.
But I like obviously the dream was hilarious. How Glock does when his initial pain when he wakes up, his fear when he realizes there's like some random stranger in his room, and he realizes like even if I was in full health and I didn't have like a fucked up leg or anything, I'm not making past this guy. I'm fucked. Yeah. So 4 out of 9. Just I feel like this is just kind of like the next 3 chapters. I feel like they're chapters that set up the next kind of where our characters are going to head up. Yeah, they're just setting up the
it's
next
coming
phase.
to the end of part 1.
Yeah, we're close to the end of part 1. Yeah, we are.
So was that a
George?
4?
I got a 4.
I reckon I'm gonna give it a 5. 'Cause I love Your Way. I just love every single thing he's in. I just love how, like you said, how Your Way is essentially the good version of Baez. He's the good maker. Not that Baez is bad at this point story, but
What? Bias?
I'm gonna have to delete this.
George,
George, start that again.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna give this one a 5. It's just because I love Your Way. Your Way's bloody brilliant, and every single thing he comes up in, I just love him. Like how self-serious he is.
Yes, true.
It's something that there isn't a lot of in this.
Well, I feel like it's because when you compare him to some of the other Meiji, he hasn't lost that that touch of empathy.
Yeah,
He's still very much he still feels very human, and he takes things seriously. I mean, if I found out there was going to be 100 fucking juiced up cannibal motherfuckers all coming down to kill everybody, I would be a little. I'd take it pretty seriously.
Yeah.
It's just people like Baez who are like, bah, please.
Well, no. Baez does take them seriously. That's why he's in a rush to get on this quest. Remember?
I know. But what I mean is like, even then he would never admit it. And Pharaoh's like, I show no fear. Whatever. It's like, Your Way's like, guys, we're in a problem. This is a problem.
No, for sure. And like Pharaoh learned her lesson the hard way in that first book when she met those 2 baby eaters, and she was like, "Oh no,
Baby.
yeah, they were young, they were young kids."
I thought of.
You just thought like actual babies.
Cannibal baby.
Just infants in diapers, just beating the shit out of Pharaoh.
Maybe that's supposed to set those trebuchets,
That's what it is. They just like launch babies over the walls.
Fucking shit.
So Harrison, you said you gave it a what?
I'm actually gonna give this one a 7. I really enjoyed this chapter.
Fuck?
I know.
This man always gives the lowest scores, and he wants to give a 7.
Listen,
I think 3-page chapter.
I think
you, Harrison.
Hey, maybe you guys. I'm proud of you guys for giving a chapter a lower rating. I know it's hard for you guys on this book because you guys.
Son of a bitch.
But I give it a 7 because I really like the Yulway stuff because it's some nice exposition that's told in a more serious way. Kind of makes you feel it makes you excited for it. And then we had this bit with the siege engines, where you're like, oh, that's interesting. And I think it's just a well-written Glockta chapter. There's a lot of really good internal dialogues. I feel like it progresses. It's setting up, but instead of just saying, "Oh, Glockta went here and talked to this person," it's like a look at these upcoming things. It's like kind of raising the stakes more. The last one we got the money situation, and now we have the actual like more Gurkish threat situation, and We get more Casca, and I just like the scenes that that are in it. It's just very enjoyable.
Okay. All right. George, you see that? Harrison's just putting us in our place. You like that?
Yep, absolutely. You should have
Okay.
said anything, Jeff.
Should- well, I can't help it. Love it. All right. Well, good job. Good job. So that was 100 words. And now we'll move on to our next segment, which is best meme of the week. George, take it away.
I like how you're adding your own sound effects now.
That's what I do. That's what I do.
Can you believe it? It's Tamel Bor once again.
My
Tamel
hero.
Bor has got to be at least half of the week.
That's what I'm saying, George. That's why you got to pick. You should pick them yourself instead of just.
No, I
relying on...
like doing it.
No, they're so good though. I mean, like
Listen,
this one's so good.
There's a reason why they're the top ones, right?
That's true. That is true.
And this one is spoiler heavy, so if you've read the books and you want to see them, go click on the link in the description.
Yeah. But wait.
Only if you've read.
Yeah, only if you've read all of the books.
Yeah, Age of Madness, including, especially.
Exactly.
Obviously. So, don't ruin it for yourselves. All right. Well, thank you for much for that, George. I appreciate that. We'll move on to our second chapter read through, and this one's The Blind Lead the Blind. And we start this chapter off from the perspective of our boy Logan, the Bloody Nine. And he's just looking at Baez, who's just passed out in the cart. Just he's out of commission. And Logan's just like, so like what happened? What's going on here? And Kwai is being real creepy at this point. Kwai's like, look at him. He's like, look at him. Whenever you use the art, he's like, whenever you're using the art too much, you borrow from the other side, and when you have to repay it. The arrogance, da-da-da-da-da. And then Logan's just like, what? and then Kwai is just like, just think, the first of the Magi, helpless as a baby. With this weak hand, I could kill him. And Logan's like, why would you wanna? And he's like, no reason. No.
Yeah. I was just saying.
just
you
saying.
could.
I was merely saying.
like it's totally normal to just point out that I can murder somebody. Anybody can murder somebody.
Yeah.
Kwai's just like, after all the shit he gave me for not reading enough books or knowing the plants, this motherfucker I am.
Teach you to sit at your desk, you old fucker.
Yeah, I like what he says here too, because he basically says you borrowed from the other side. You're borrowing that power and then tempering it with the knowledge of the other side. I just like that little reinforcement of that, of those little rules that are in place there. Right. Even though we don't have exactly know how it works in terms of like mechanically, we understand. Oh, buys that for the cat because he pulled out way too much fucking other side juice, so he's tapped out.
Yeah, and Kwai says it's like, borrow too often. Perhaps one time you touch the world below, you leave a piece of yourself behind. It's like, uh-oh, what could that mean? I am returned. Shut up. Do I need to delete that? God damn it.
What?
No.
Anyway, leave it in there. It'll create suspense. It'll create suspense.
Okay. All right. Sure. At this point, it'll create suspense. Yeah. So Logan is unsure what to do. Right. He's like, where do we go? Like, do we have any idea where we're going or what we're supposed to do when we get there? Should we turn back? And Kwai's like, nope. We got to carry on because we have enemies behind us. We can't do it. And Logan's just like, oh, fuck. And like, Logan, he's realizing at this point that he's probably going to have to lead. He's going to have to take over as the leader while Baez is out of commission, And I like how Logan walks up to, Longfoot, Pharaoh, Giselle and everything. And he goes, all right, so I guess we're still going to Alcus for the bridge. And Longfoot,
not a good idea.
Since Baez is out of commission, Longfoot is taking the chance to be like, yeah, it's not a good idea. No. It's just,
we should just go.
Yeah, we should be out.
Just go. Yeah.
Right. And then Logan's like, nah, that was the plan, and we're gonna stick with it. And then Longfoot acts like he didn't hear Logan, right? And he's like, well, I think this other way is better, this and that. And then he's like, were you paid to go all the way? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, AUKUS. That's all he says. And then he's like, yes, I see that you're decided, but for me, I think that, wisdom, caution, experience, all this, like, let's really. And then Logan's just like, AUKUS. And then Longfoot's just like, okay.
I do love how fucking Longfoot says it here. It's such a passive aggressive fuck, He's like, decisiveness, boldness, vigor. He's like, they are all one of your many talents. And then he's like, caution, wisdom, experience. Those are all mine.
Yeah. And I mean,
he's got such a strange way of talking about things, this guy.
Seriously. So then Logan just like says, good. And he just walks away without even saying anything. Like without paying attention to what Longfoot's talking about at this point. And then he goes up to Pharaoh and he's like, all right, so how do I say this? Baez is like taking a really, 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 really long nap. So like, I guess we got to keep going. And Pharaoh's like, yeah, all right, cool. And he's like, what? And then Pharaoh says something very complimentary. She goes, if you ask me, it's an improvement that with him in charge. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. Oh.
But then she's like, yeah, because I never trusted that bald bastard. All right, okay.
Call back to one of our titles is like, I did not tell you to trust him.
Ooh.
Right? Isn't that one?
Yeah,
it was. There you go. So then Logan's like, all right, well, that was easy. And then he goes to Luthor. Captain Luthor.
You're my man.
Oh, I love it. And then, but in here we see from Logan's point of view, Luthor is just like real frustrated with himself. That he wanted to fight. And we're talking about the previous chapter where Logan was struggling with a couple of guys while Baez took out everybody with his, fire XP points, whatever the fuck kind of thing that just happened there. So, but Luthor, Giselle's angry at himself that he just couldn't move. He just was helpless. And Logan's real understanding, right? He's compassionate. He just says, hey, at least you didn't shit yourself.
Yeah. I like how he repeats himself here as well. He's like, that's okay. Some people freeze up the first time. It does hurt more than you believe. At least you didn't shit yourself. That happens more than you believe.
Did you? No.
Nah, not me. No, never.
No, I'm a fucking cold-hearted killer,
Yeah, he's like, killing comes way too easy for me. Yeah, and I bet Luthor was like, what?
And I love how Giselle's like, he's like, unless I'm killed for doing nothing. And then Logan's like, yeah, there is that too.
And then Logan realized he has to because Luthor just dropped his head even more. And Logan's like, oh no. He's like, hey, but you didn't get killed. Cheer up, man. You're good. Look, you got a chance to do better next time. And he's like, next time? He's like, yeah, it's just what life is. Just doing better next time. And then that was really good of Logan to try to bring up his spirits.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
say one thing for Logan, no fingers. Say he's a morale boost.
Say he's an optimist.
He's an optimist.
And then they get on the horses, and Logan looks at them. He's like, "All right, let's go." And that's the end of the chapter. Again, we're talking real short chapters, ladies and gentlemen. So,
yeah. But I do like what he says here at the end. He's like, "That's what life is." To do better next time. I really like that. And also, there's some really good foreshadowing in this chapter for Giselle and Logan, and there's some really good theming for the entire series with this little talk that they have.
Oh yeah, you're right. Nice pickup there, Harrison. I like that.
Thanks.
Yeah, we can't get too much into it, but yeah.
I would say that overall, though, I would still only give this chapter a 3 because it is very small. And it is a little entertaining, and it's basically just that little part brings it up from probably a 2 because that part is nice. But it's just not much there, is there? It's just this little interaction. Did you have the weird, creepy moment from Kawhi? But you can't really do anything with that because you're just like,
Okay.
Okay.
I guess Kawhi's angry about having to turn in his homework. Oh, Kawhi.
fucking bitch.
I'm giving it a 2. I'll be honest with you.
Whoa! I think that's the lowest score you've ever given.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, dude, they're so short. They're so short.
They get even shorter here in a minute.
What?
Next week they're pretty short. Yeah.
Yeah. So, George, yourself?
I'm gonna have to go and agree with you, Jeff. I'm gonna give it a 2 as well.
Yo, me and George.
It is. I didn't realize until I picked up my copy of the book. It's literally like 2.5 pages.
Yeah. Normally, when you listen to it, you're just boom, done with it. And you don't think about it. It's just a scene.
Mm-hmm.
And it is definitely a bit of a stopgap chapter. It's like, this is between two things. They've gotten away from the fight. He's just reiterating, right? Byers is still asleep. Logan's in charge. Not everybody's happy with what's happening, and we're going to move on. And there's a bit of character plugged in there, but it is definitely a bit of a stopgap.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, 2.
Nice. Look at that. 2, 2, and a 3. These short chapters, but it's all good. It's all good. There's still quality.
Oh yeah, 100%. The writing brilliant in this. Like he's crammed in so much. Say Harrison.
Yeah. Harrison, you were saying something?
No, go ahead.
Oh no, that's it. I was just gonna say, moving on.
Perfect. I just was saying this next chapter is hilarious. So.
Okay. So, our next segment is our character spot. What's it gonna be?
Well, we could come to the point now, folks, where we are in these small chapters, kind of to build it up, not getting too many new characters. So we're gonna go ahead. There is a moment later on that he probably has his more, his bigger moment in the sun. But I would say it's good enough. We're gonna go with Visbrook, the general at Dagaska, and he's a general at Dagaska.
Enough said.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, I like that he is just like a soldier. He's not malicious. He's literally just like, hey, this is what I got. He follows orders. He's not creative, but he does seem to. He's not creative or ambitious even. He just goes through and does his job. And he almost seems so bland compared to the characters like Glockter or Casca. But also, Visbrook is just like a normal dude. He just, worked in the military, got a good position. Maybe he's got some family back in Midderland. I would say he is probably more bland, but he does have a certain kind of soldier moment, one that not a lot of characters get later on. So I like that.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, this guy probably, when he got this post, he probably thought it was cushy. Nothing's ever going to happen. You just overlook and oversee going on, make sure the walls are repaired and all that, and that's it. Nothing's ever going to come along and ruin your day. But it has. The Gurkhas are here, and Glockter's terrorizing him, and he's just like, oh, for fuck's sake. Why didn't I take up that nice post in Starrick Land?
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's all the little things that they do, and we get even a little bit more way later on in a short story too, which makes him have even more of that kind of soldier, true soldier through and through, which is very nice.
Okay. Well,
anything to say, Jeffrey?
With Visbrook, not really. To be
honest, Visbrook.
Sorry, yeah. It just, he just seems pretty one note. I'll wait to, comment more about him later on when he has that moment that you were talking about, Harrison. But he just seems like a very how do I say this? He's a slacker, until Glockter showed up. He was like, whatever. And then Glockter shows up and he's like, well, everyone's job's at risk. He's like, oh, fuck. And then he's starting to put in the effort. So, whatever. We'll see.
Sometimes people just need direction, Jeffrey. Take it easy.
That's true. That's true. So, I mean, I can't really say much about Visbrook. I mean, whatever. Might as well have talked about the cart that Baez was sleeping on.
Visbrook is a champion of mediocrity.
Yes. The epitome of mediocrity.
Yep.
All right, so we'll move on to our third chapter read-through. And this one is Prince Ladisla's Stratagem. Oh, this one's going to be fun.
The second you read that, this is going to be a good chapter.
This is going to be great. This is great, guys. This is great. So we start off, and we're obviously it's column. It's Major West. Is it Major or Colonel West? Colonel West. Colonel West's point of view. He as of right now, he's like, isn't he with Pike and Cathal? They're doing the whole forging metal stuff, like sword.
Wes is so bad with women, just period. Right? He's
Yeah,
terrible. He's just fucking sitting there staring at this woman while she's working. He saved her, kind of, brought her out because she was a woman. Let's be honest. And then he brings her here and is fucking looking at her ass while she's working. And what is she gonna say? Stop doing that.
Well, she
saved your life. It's fucking. What she says, you're in the way, and then she like looks at him like, are you gonna do anything? No. Okay. Well,
she does tell him like, hey, don't you have an army to run? Okay.
Right. I know.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell are you doing, West? You're fucking weirdo.
Yeah, I mean, West is not how you say he's not smart with the ladies. Let's just say that at the very least.
No,
right?
he's not.
He's not.
Wes is gonna be like, he's like that old man. Like I could see Wes POV as like an old man, right? He's sitting there at a coffee shop or whatever, looking over, staring at a young couple, just staring at them like a creep. In his head, he's thinking, "Oh, I remember whenever I was young. Oh, I would have had that kind of relationship." Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
He's having a whole fucking side quest in his head, but he looks. I don't know.
Yeah, outwardly it just looks really fucking creepy.
That's all I can see.
I think Harrison has an axe to grind against West. You notice that, George? He just
maybe a little bit, maybe
a little bit, right?
Maybe I just don't. Never mind, I won't.
Not gonna do it now.
No, just beat his sister. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, whatever.
Big
Big
deal.
deal.
Over. He's a
Big
good
deal.
man. He's a good man. Anyways, moving on.
Oh, Jesus.
He goes back outside, right? He fucking sits there and looks at Catherine's ass for a minute, and Pike is like, bruh. And then
we should mention that he's in there too because they're not bothering him. Those people, they're self-sufficient. But when West has to go out and actually deal with the army, he has to deal with the fact of like they don't have the clothes, they don't have the arms, they're not well supplied, this and that. It's cold as shit, right? And that kind of stress is like taking a toll on West, correct?
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a piece of West. Everybody needs to ask him what to do, because obviously the prince's staff who are meant to be doing all the decisions aren't.
No.
So it's literally just him.
They're useless.
That's true. That's very true.
So he goes outside, like you said, and he's just kind of like, He is and it's nice what he's looking at right now. He's looking at like, what would I say? He's looking at the
It's a
sky.
nice clear sky.
Yeah,
in the winter, which is always lovely.
And then Three Trees comes up on him, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going? Great." And I like how Three Trees doesn't even hesitate. Like Wes is like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Bethel's just over the hill.
Yeah. He's like, Wes is like, "Hey, how's it going? Well met, right? Whatever that means." And then Three Trees is like, "Yep." So by the way, Bethod is 5 days away. He's like, "What?"
He hasn't got time to waste.
He's like, "You think?" And in the last little Northman chapter, I guess you could say, Three Trees is basically like, guys, I hate my life too. This is basically him coming to the West like, bruh, it's a fucking nice guy, whatever. Like, who cares?
Mm-hmm. And then Wes asks him, it's Three Trees and Dogman. And he's like, how many are we talking about? Like, can you tell me, like, what is Bethel doing? Like, why? And then Dogman's like, I guess 10,000, but probably more. And Wes is like, what? He's just like, oh, hell no.
And I like how he uses this bit of information that he's got off Logan in the first book when he's like, mostly thralls, and it's like light infantry, because to him, light infantry is someone who just doesn't fight. You know what I mean? Like the levies, they're not expected to go into like heavy combat.
Right.
Whereas
And then
Bethel's thralls are fucking battle-hardened men.
They're badass. And Three Trees, he shuts down any kind of hope of like, he's like, light infantry? He's like, nah, yeah, but not really. He's like, these motherfuckers will eat your babies.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And then Dogman's also like, and there's also no shortage of Carls. So yeah. And then they just start piling on. Yeah, there's named men. It's the cream of it's like creme de la creme, whatever the fuck it is, cream of the crop. They're like, oh no, And Wes is just like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And then he asks them like, how fast can that army move? And then they're like, yep, they can move fast. Like their scouts might be here, 2 days, might be 2 days, and then the main army is like 3 days, a day after that. And they're like, oh fuck. So he's like, oh my god, I gotta talk to the prince. And we all say, he's gotta talk to Ladisla. Who wants to take over? What happens here? Like who? It's Wes, Three Trees, and Dogman. They walk into the tent, and remember, it's a giant tent. It's very lavish. They got musicians.
It's like a palace.
It's a palace, and
Three Trees they go in there, and Three Trees looks around. He's like, by the dead. He's like, what?
Because it's a portable palace. So who wants to take it over?
Well, they walk in and there's musicians playing. They're all having a drink, even though there's like soldiers freezing and starving in the tent next door. And he goes up to tell Ladisla what's going on. It's like they're 5 days away, and he's like, 5 days away, and he's so excited about it. And immediately you're just like, oh fuck, this is not going to go well.
Right. And I like that because the music was like loud. Ladisla distracted, and Wes is like, Your Majesty, I got something to tell you. He's like, yes. Just by the way, did you try this rabbit we have here? And the Northmen, why don't you try some? Help yourselves. He's like, they're 5 days away. He has to yell it. And then I like how when he yells it, like it's like a DJ record scratch, like the musicians just stop playing.
Yeah. I know. It's like a broken record. Yeah, I just love how. Hey, you had to say one thing for Prince Ladisla. Say he's all about equality.
Action.
Because what they say, everybody is. What verse say? Everybody is below him. So he's all like, what does he say here? He's like, it is 2 Northmen. he's like, come eat. He's just all inclusive. He's like, doesn't care that they're Northmen. He's just like, come on, buddy, let's go. Let's party it up. What a sweetheart. He clearly is such a caring person.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit. He's like, whatever, pay for it. And then Harrison, you want to talk about like the decision making process here?
Yeah, they're talking, and they're like, there's like 10,000, and Ladis's like, excellent, we are on equal terms then. Wes is like, no, like that, not in quality, man. Like our troops suck ass. But then fucking Smud bucks in, and he's like, come now, Colonel. one good Union man is worth 10 of their kind. And he's like staring down at Three Trees.
Yeah,
and I know Three Trees is like, bruh. He's like looking at him. But basically Wes is like, dude, it's gonna be a slaughter. And Ladisla's like, no, gentlemen, that's enough. And he's like, we'll drive them back over the border. He doesn't. He's not listening to Wes. He just heard that there's Northmen. Oh, good. We have even numbers. Then we'll crush them, no problem. Because basically, they're still gonna lose because their men are way worse than ours. And there's this moment in the story, right, where most of the time it'd be like, oh, here, he's going to convince him not to do it. That's the wrong decision. He like goes on his knees and everything, and fucking Ladisla's like, mine is the weight of command, Colonel. He's like, he just ignores him. Wes is like on his knees begging, and Ladisla doesn't give a shit. That's the end of it. He's like, that's my decision.
Capital.
Yeah.
Capital.
And Three Trees is like, these men are fucking fools.
Yeah, that's when they leave. They leave the tent because they're frustrated because.
Yeah, and I love them. They're like, kick them back across the board. I teach them a lesson. Excellent. Capital. Is there more wine?
And then he's like, stop that music. We need something with more vigor. Something with blood in it.
Yeah, and they start playing a more martial tune.
That's like the most important thing in the world. Gotta get the music right.
Oh shit! It's so terrible because these thousands. It's like with West, right? He's like, there are 10,000 men's lives out there that are, probably gonna get thrown away, and Ladisla's like, more music.
Yeah, and like, it's hilarious, but it's also like heartbreaking if you think about it. Like, Wes is trying his best. He's like, these guys are all gonna die if we don't do something. Like, we have to pull back. And we have this dude, this prince, who obviously has been like, privilege is an understatement, correct? Right? With this guy, it's just an under fucking statement, and just doesn't even think about it. And then when West realizes that there's no convincing him otherwise, and he leaves, Three Trees is like, "You motherfuckers follow why? Because he was born some type of what? Motherfucker? Even Bethod had to earn his place. What the fuck?"
Yeah, he's like pissed off just by the custom. He's like, it's triggered.
Yeah.
He's like, I came all this way, try to fucking help, and then you don't listen to me. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. So then he's like, "Listen, I wanted to help you all, but you're not gonna lead me or my boys to death. We out. Dogman, roll out."
It ain't all bad. I got me a fish.
The Dogman kind of just like looks at West, shrugs, and he's like, "It's all right. Look, it's all good. I got me a fish." And it's like he got an entire poached salmon. It's like, what? Where'd you pull that from?
I can't believe we can fit a whole salmon in his pocket.
And that's what I love too. When they're all in there, Ladisla's like, "Get it, eat," and then Dogman starts taking food, and the other people are like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he's letting him eat these filthy Northmen eat her food." And Ladisla's like, "Oh, whatever."
Yeah.
I love that description as well. When he's like, the Dogman started sniffing at food like a dog.
Like a dog.
There's like a delay in the audiobook, and it's perfect.
And they just leave West alone on the hillside while Ladisla's music is blaring behind them. And that's the end of Prince Ladisla's Stratagem. Again, another short chapter. George, you lead off. What kind of rating do you want to give this chapter?
I'm going to give this one a 6. I think this one's fucking absolute. For one thing, the whole Ladisla bit is hilarious. From start to finish, you just know that it's going to go badly, and Ladisla's just going to go face first into it, But I also
can't
like
go
this,
wrong at all.
The convicts and West relationship starting to sour a little bit. I think that's quite interesting. Starting to see that at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'd say 7.
You said 7 or 6? Make up your mind.
One or two. One or two. Pick one.
Pick one.
I'm gonna say 7.
Hey, 6.5. 6.5.
6 and a knuckle.
Oh yes.
6 and a knuckle.
There you go.
Silly eighth.
Okay. Harrison.
I think I am also gonna give it a 6 and a knuckle because it's. I agree. It's a shorter chapter, but like the Ladisla bit is hilarious, and it's a very good moment for the story because this is where you're like, oh, it's actually happening. Like West is like, oh God, don't do it. It's the decision where some our characters really get affected by that up in the north here, and it's done very well because it's all like you guys said, it's funny, it's hilarious, but also it's like it has some serious consequences overall. And it's done really well in that way. Instead of being overly dramatic, it's like the opposite. But that kind of, it almost like covers up the fact that this is like a terrible, terrible decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna. Do I give it a 6 or do I give it 6 and a knuckle? Do I do the trifecta? Do I not? I'm going for the trifecta.
Yeah.
6 and a knuckle. Yeah, just because again, short chapter, but just that whole bit with it's him, it's Three Trees and Dogman. Dogman's out here sniffing the food like a maniac and just like offending all the aristocrats, their sensibilities, and then Ladisla just being like, "Listen, we got it, man. We can do it. No problem." And Wes is like, "Please listen to me. This is why I'm here with you, and you're not taking any of my advice." And I was like, "It's cool, bro. It's cool.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. I'm like, oh, this is great. This is gonna turn out to such a shit show, but I'm gonna love it." So, 6 and a knuckle for me. Excellent.
Cool. Eggs. Fuck yeah.
Hey, did you say eggs? This
Eggs.
asshole.
I love eggs. My wife makes good eggs.
Oh man. So that was our third and final chapter read through for this episode. we'll move on to our final segment, which is our community interaction segment. Harrison, do you want to take this away?
Yeah. I did the favorite scene, and apparently TBH, which somebody said the blade hits itself, which is definitely what I was going for. I just accidentally put an H instead of an I. But I just was curious to see what everybody's favorite scene was. There were some good scenes in the blade itself, and it's interesting to see that most people still went with the Bloody Nine's first appearance.
Of course.
And the comments were like, "Well, it's not just the first appearance; the entire chase scene is amazing." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, that's the point. I got it." But the it makes sense. It is an excellent chapter and an excellent scene. So I just was surprised that I guess it makes sense. Second place goes to Vengeance and Burial of Forley. I picked the House of the Maker for mine because I really love that part, and so there's some good scenes in there, but it's hard to pass up that moment.
Right.
So I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, that seems iconic,
Yeah. When we do the next one for before they're hanged, I think it's gonna look a little different.
Oh yeah.
It'll be a little closer. There's quite a few things in there. Yeah.
That's true. I think I know what my favorite will be, but yeah, we'll wait till
I know what your favorite is.
Really? You tell me after the episode, all right? Tell me after the episode.
It's the Bloody Nine's first appearance. What are you talking about? You love that.
Oh, I thought you were talking about before they're hanged.
No, not before they're hanged. I'm sorry. No, I'm talking about the Bloody.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Come on. Really? Stone shitter. All right.
I was surprised like how far of a lead that one had, to be honest, because my favorite is the House of the Maker.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what's the?
And I would have said like I just think it's so like it's the point where it becomes otherworldly.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
nothing else has been like that. It's been there's a bit of magic here and there, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, we're actually inside, and it's like, it's so weird, and you get so much of the background like that. There's not a lot of action, but there is a lot of very weird stuff that goes on. It's really well done.
What were the stats?
Oh, it wasn't too many votes overall, but 49 people voted for the Bloody Nine's first appearance, 15 for the House of the Maker, 18 for Vengeance and Burial of Forley, 8 for other last scene in the last part 1. I don't know what it would be called, but that chase scene where they have Blacktoe chase after them, the trees blow up. I really like that scene, but I don't think it's as good as the House of the Maker, but I really like it. And then Baez and Salt at the dinner, which I also think is really good. Got 8 votes for that one.
Oh, I can't wait to release a skit of that one.
I know. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Nice. Glad to hear that. That's a show, everyone. We want to thank you all for listening and supporting this podcast. As you know, this is a passion project for the 3 of us, and your support really does mean a lot to us.
Join us next time when we read Until Sunset, Long Odds, The Road to Victory, and Necessary Evils.
And make sure you follow us on all the social medias, on Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you want to follow us on. And we have a website, circleoftheworld.com.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or any podcast app that you use to listen to podcasts on. And please make sure to rate and review this podcast as it helps to spread our reach. Thank you all again for listening.
Sweep them back over the border.
Excellent. Capital.